The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
First Weekend Podcast coming to you Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. It is this week's edition of the Student Report. Of course, joined by the man, Kyle Nash with us. Divisional Weekend in the books, and we will get to that in a second. But we did have a national title game last night, actually, buddy.
We did? Oh, yeah. I know a number of people forgot that ish and aren't going to ever admit it, but yeah.
I'll stand on that sword because I actually almost forgot about it too. Also, they have to tweak the scheduling better going forward. The playoffs, it's a little scattered. Well, I get why the New Year's thing and all that, but
right,
it's a little scattered.
I mentioned this on the Mark Moses show. This whole playoff situation, such as it is still like it was crowbarred into an existing agreement. Everybody has to remember that. So
yeah. So we'll get to the playoffs, NFL Plus in a second. Last night, of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes win the national title. I mean, again, if you had asked me after Thanksgiving weekend when they lost to Michigan, and look, there was no question of getting to the playoff. If you had told me these boys, Ryan Day, would be winning the Natty in mid-January, or late January rather, because it's a little late down in the month, I would have said, "Get the hell out of here." There's no way hell that what we saw against Michigan at the in Columbus that this team was capable of winning a national title,
and frankly, winning every playoff game with conviction.
Yeah. Right? Yes.
There's no sneaking by Penn State. No disrespect to Notre Dame when I say that, but that's the immediate example that jumps off for how close a game that was, right? There's no tinkering around. And what is it we all said? They had the toughest road to the championship. And still, redheaded stepchild, that beast. So I don't want to hear it, man. Listen, you could be a Buckeye hater all you want. God knows I have spent time in that universe, though I wasn't necessarily there this year. I know we deal with people who dislike Ryan Day, and that's perfectly allowed. But
can I be honest with you? Like certain folks, people, not just in our orbit, even people outside the orbit, kind of made Ryan Day a sympathetic figure to me.
I'm not going to go that far.
For me personally,
what I will say is. And yeah, this isn't us talking about anybody in our sphere. Let me make that. Since you brought it up, I don't want this to be misconstrued by anyone.
I know I'll get a text from certain people saying, "What do you mean? Wasn't this you, buddy? Wasn't this you?"
No, well, okay. You're now taking the reins for that part of the conversation.
That's fine.
I mean, everybody was after Ryan Day, right?
Yeah.
And what I think we learned though is he learned from the hubris of the way he coached the Michigan game. And literally not playing to his team's strengths, right? And gosh, you know what though? Give Notre Dame credit because their opening drive was worth the price of admission if you were a Notre Dame fan. Yeah, I know the game didn't go the way you wanted, but let's be honest, you were an underdog in the first place. And I've said this on this show, I think, that Notre Dame was the baseline team. I never saw them as a national champion. I'm fairly certain a lot of Notre Dames. Notre Dames. Is that like a female fighting Irish fan in the 20s?
Yeah,
Notre Dame?
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, we can't use it nowadays because that's sexist, but I think it's funny. Anyway,
given where we are now nationally and what happened yesterday, I think things have changed a little bit.
Don't be rude.
Don't be rude. Saying little more
No,
leniency
yeah.
on certain things to be said. I'm not saying I approve of that. I'm just saying that Anyway, that's another
I'll
topic
put
another
it
day.
this way: I will ask for consent before I call a female Irish fan a Notre Dame. Okay, how about that?
I agree. I like that one. I like that one.
You know. Anyways, no, but I again, this is not me condemning what Notre Dame did in the playoffs. They did America a lot of favors by eliminating pretenders like Indiana, like Penn State, supplanting a team with an injured quarterback who was given a test and failed, like Florida State was when they were excluded from the playoff. That was Notre Dame this year. That's all that happened. And I listen, we've been over my alleged SEC bias plenty. They're certainly the best conference in college football still. And if you argue that, all you prove is you don't know the expanse of college football. But what I will say is this: Ohio State had the tougher road and dominated. I get that you may not like the Buckeyes. I get that you may not like Ryan Day, but Ryan Day showed us he learned from that Michigan game. And he also showed us that he had the best team in college football. And people are like, well, they had 20 million in IL. And listen, you're a baseball fan, allegedly, EJ Christian. I can't keep track of all the stuff you're a fan of. That's why I say allegedly.
Yeah.
I know you're not missing a hockey game for this podcast, so that proves some points. But the punchline's this: I know you're a baseball guy. And I know you and I both know, even through my lack of baseball acumen, that the Yankees have a giant old payroll. They ain't winning the World Series every year.
Nope.
So
and they haven't. They haven't won World Series since 2009. So there you go.
I didn't know 2000. That's a long time.
I think this is my last point here to this topic here. I think it's the beauty of the playoff is that even if you had that monstrous loss to Michigan, rivalry loss, the biggest rivalry in college football right now, in November, as long as you do your job and you hang around and don't have more than 3 losses, you get in the playoff. It's a new season. It's a new season, and Ohio State proved that because again, the vibe was after losing to Michigan that Ryan Day was definitely a dead man walking. Whether or not he won or lost to Tennessee in the first round, whether it lost to the second round opponent they
on this
played.
show, we said it would take a Natty to save his job.
Not just getting there, winning the damn Natty. So
Correct.
his margin of error was 0.
All I hear him saying is, "Oh gosh, EJ and Kyle had a point. Let's go win this bitch."
Yeah, Ryan Day's margin of error was 0, and he crushed that bitch. So the playoff essentially gives you a new lease on life, really, and that's ultimately the beauty of the playoff. Now, obviously, this thing to tweak about it. How we do this.
This is where we're going to hard stop disagree.
What do you mean?
I can't agree with that and say what I've been saying because I believe what the beauty of the playoff is to give other teams a chance. Okay, cute. We still live in a world where teams are hiding behind weak schedules.
Yeah. Okay.
Big Ten, the Big Ten representative in Ohio State among them. Mm-hmm. Let me be clear.
Yes.
The reason why Michigan was such a devastating loss is because it was easy, or it should have been, right? And I mean, we want to talk about teams hanging around. Notre Dame's a fine example, losing to a G5 team and making the playoff, which the point that's made about they did it early, so they had the opportunity to improve is indeed the most impressive. This isn't me saying Notre Dame shouldn't have made the playoff, but what we are doing is rewarding team with weak schedules. And granted, Ohio State gets a pass on that to an extent because they took the tougher road and won it dominantly. It also helps that they played an awful lot of cake and had an opportunity to get fat off of it in order to have enough mass to get
I don't know what the and for the record, I 1000% agree with you on the schedule thing.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you on
the whole reason we have the playoff at all, let alone the 12
I think the SEC gets the least slack of it because by nature their conference is tougher.
That's my point.
And what I've been saying all year long too, also to defend you, like people say, "Oh, SC is dying this year because Georgia and Bama aren't as good." No, what you're not seeing though is that the bottom got better. So the completion of the SEC is not top heavy anymore now. The bottom got better. Florida improved throughout the entire year. Vanderbilt was ranked for a good portion of the year this year.
Won their bowl game.
Yes, they're going to be bottom feeders because they have to be bottom feeders at some point. Okay,
yeah.
But at the same time, the teams that typically are at the bottom of that conference did improve this year. So the bottom got better. So basically, you had more parity in the SEC. That's why it's not SC bias. It's just reality. It's the best conference in football. Still is.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
From top to bottom, it is. If Vanderbilt played the Minnesota Golden Gophers today, I'm
thinking Vandy. I'm thinking Vandy neutral field.
Just saying.
That's the same. As for I love doing these things after each sports season ends. Looking at the immediate odds, coming out. So right now, they have you have. I'll give you the top 5. I'll tell you right now, of the top 5, 3 of the schools are Big Ten teams. Ohio State number 1, of course, plus 450. Number 2 is Texas plus 650. Also Oregon, that's plus 650 at 3. Georgia plus 700, and then Penn State at number 5 at plus 850. Notre Dame at number 6 at plus 1200 actually. Bama at plus 1600 at 7. Tennessee at plus 1800 at 8. Clemson at plus 1809. LSU at plus 2000 at 10. Ole Miss at plus 2311. And number 12 is actually Texas A&M at plus 3000. So obviously, from what I'm reading here, I'm looking at this is probably what the 12 teams they think will actually make the playoff next year based on what these odds are. I'm assuming.
What about it? Like, this is only degenerates like you would bring this fucking shit up. What are we doing here? They're still we still got friggin' two practices. We got to get through summer practice.
That's my point.
That's what these fucking rosters.
That's my point. It's
how
way
many
too
of
early.
these teams even have the same quarterback? I'm going to take Tennessee by default simply because they have a young quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Man, this is ridiculous. You degenerates.
But that being said, though, Kyle, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. That being said, of these 12 teams, do they? If you were to rank the top 12 teams right now coming in the college football, and say this was the list you presented, do you have a problem with this list?
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah.
What stands out for the most here in terms of like?
Well, for one, I think you're holding some teams that are losing a quarterback way too high. All right. Now, I'm not counting Texas because we know why they're there. They were planning for Manning. I get it. Okay?
Absolutely.
But this kid Avery Johnson in Kansas State, he's getting better, right? Mm-hmm. What about him? What about these teams with up and coming quarterbacks? No, I'm not going to go over here and go nuts and be all like, "Oh, UCF is Dylan Risk and Scott Frost. What are you doing?" No, I'm not doing that. But if you were telling me 12 teams that were going to make the playoffs and have a shot at the Natty, you should at least throw light odds on K-State. The thing is, they're not a brand. All they're doing is throwing a bunch of brands in here and seeing what the fuck sticks. And if I'm going to put money on it, I'm going to at least know if they have a quarterback that was a senior and graduating and leaving this past season before I do anything. I've not done that research, ergo I cannot speak accurately. But from the hip, Tennessee's my first pick. But you think I'm going to throw money down on Heupel winning a Natty? You're out of your goddamn mind. No.
A&M in top 12 too also. I mean,
well,
first of all,
A&M is confusing and they're the SEC. That's why that happened. Somebody did that because they know they'll get the Joes in the building. And Texas is, football holy ground. It's if Canton, Ohio is like Boston, Massachusetts for the American Revolution, that kind of thing, then, what it's going to be like Texas is football Mecca or Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I'll tell you right now,
religion in Texas is what I'm saying.
I'm not going to, obviously the school's not listed on the list here, but I'm going to tell you now, I'll say it again. I think I mentioned to you about a month and a half ago. The school I'm looking at next year is Florida. That's
their schedule's just as awful next year. I can't.
But I think they're better. They're going to be better next year.
Maybe they are, but an 8-win team is not getting to the playoff. EJ Christian.
I'm not saying going to get to the playoff, but I'm saying that's the school I'm looking at right now. The 7-5 end of the year, 7-5 this year.
So all you're saying is take the over when the schedule over under comes out. Thanks.
I'm going to assume that their over under is going to be 8.5 next year.
And are you taking the over, or are you going to be a bitch?
I am going to take the over. Yes.
Okay, carry on.
I just like the vibes coming out right now.
14-2, 14-02.
Yes.
On 121-25. I expect this clip to be played when you explain why you are taking the over.
I'm not defending it because I don't want it to happen. I hate the Gators. But
this isn't about your love or hate for anything.
I'm just analyzing as what I see. That's all.
By the way, you know who's suspiciously missing from that list of top 12? Speaking of schools you allegedly hate, Miami.
Yeah, they shouldn't be there because there's lots of quarterback. I mean, you got Carson Beck. They got Carson Beck, but come on. I mean, whatever. Really, and the problem with Carson Beck is you're trying to come in after Cam Moore. That's impossible. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
But if they get defense,
yeah, and if you get a wash at quarterback, even close to wash, then you need to be happy with that. But you're not getting better.
If you get slightly worse quarterback play from Cam Moore, but a lot of good defense, you'll be fine.
Right, exactly. All right, NFL Divisional Weekend in the books now.
Yep.
I've always said
Here he comes.
of the 4 weeks in the playoffs, Divisional Weekend gives you the best product of the 4 weeks.
You have said that before. That's true.
More in the Super Bowl, more in Church of Weekend, more.
I've always said it's Conference Championship Sunday, but let's just say you've had far worse takes than the one that you're explaining right now.
Yeah, Divisional Weekend's getting us some really great classics, especially in the last couple of years too. Especially, hell, that Bills Chiefs 13-2 game was in the Divisional Weekend for the record.
You're not wrong.
And the Chiefs still lost the week after.
To the yes.
Anyway, so this quick one-word answer, one take answer. I'm gonna go through each game. Biggest takeaway. First game what's the first game this weekend? Was Chiefs and Texans. It was biggest takeaway.
They are who we thought they were, and it works for both teams. EJ Christian.
It does. Although Houston was in that game though. I knew that game would be somewhat competitive, but KC will find a way to cover the spread.
No.
They did though.
No, it wasn't competitive. No. Okay, guys, and I mean this to the football world. 8 points is a blowout with Chiefs football.
It is now.
I'm joking, obviously, but
right.
they're not Iowa. Okay, it's not that bad, but yes, this was Kansas City Chiefs style football. Oh, the refs, shut the fuck up. Don't let your quarterback get sacked 8 times, and don't make 3 glaring mistakes on special teams. How about that? I thought this was supposed to be sliced bread at quarterback with both these teams. And we got the basic play out of Lamar Dimitri, more on that later. Patrick Lamar Mahomes II, but we sure didn't get anything from CJ. That's right. I only used his first name.
Uh-oh. That's kind of mean.
I actually like CJ Stroud. I'm just getting sick of Texan fans trying to tell me how bad Trevor Lawrence is. Hey, put his numbers next to Daniel Jones's and see how similar they are. How about that?
Uh-oh. We're not having that conversation again. We had
what I said.
Right. All right. Commanders Lions. Commanders advance to the conference championship. What is your biggest takeaway from that game?
Tragedy.
That upset.
Pure fucking tragedy, EJ Christian. And it's not that I have a problem with the Commanders. It's a great story that really ownership has come around and done what it's done. I'm sure you'll be sending Magic Johnson a Christmas card every year.
Already ahead of it.
And that ownership group as a whole, what they've done to turn things around. It all started there and just trickled down. And then Jane Daniels was the tip of the proverbial spear that took down the Lions. It's still, man. And by the way, credit to grown ass man Campbell, like his post game and saying what he said and paying tribute to his guy's effort and blaming himself. Man, take a note, Texans, or even Patrick Mahomes II, who complained about an officiating call very famously one time. A time the refs went against the Chiefs, who allegedly hate the Chiefs. Whatever. I'm done. Next.
I'm going to ask you a quick. Is this? I got into a conversation with someone about this yesterday at work, and I don't know if I can counter it. So when I started thinking about it, I was like, maybe you are correct. Is this the best rookie quarterback season we've ever seen?
Best rookie quarterback
season we've ever seen? Jane Daniels, what he's doing this year? So I'm looking. I thought about it. I was like, that can't be right. Maybe top 5, but then I started thinking about quarterbacks in the rookie year doing what he's done this year. I'm like, I don't think I've seen something that's matched this.
What's the barometer exactly? Like,
well, performance for one. He's going to be rookie of the year. We know that already.
Sure.
So the numbers are going to bear out for him anyway. This win rookie of the year number 1 on performance. But then also the turnaround of the team also too, as well, winning 2 playoff games on the road. Okay, I guess one against the number 1 seed in the conference that actually were favored to win the conference, and doing it convincingly, and with a team that, let's be real here, the Commanders roster wise, average at best. I mean, you got McLaurin, you got McLaurin, but other than that, that's it.
Whoa, stop.
I think their defense is ranked 18th this year.
How can you agree with the power vacuum statement I was preaching and then come out with that. You cannot have that shit both ways.
Yeah, but we were saying that the power ranking was going to be for next year. They've arrived now. They are a game,
right,
Kyle.
They are going to get their roster that much better in a season, buddy. I'm not there.
Kyle, they're a year away from. They're a game away from the Super Bowl.
I understand that. Then what are we doing here? You're arguing against yourself now.
No, I'm saying that this rookie year might be the greatest rookie year we've ever seen.
No, okay, hold on. You can't be average at best and then say, oh,
No. I said the team, the roster around Jane Daniels is average at best. Not him.
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
But that doesn't take away from the actual question with Jaden Daniels, right? First of all, they do have a couple advantages, okay?
What is it?
Getting to play the Giants. God, it's a shame we don't have a Giants fan on this panel.
Yeah.
Getting a chance to play the Giants twice, getting to play the AFC South this year, and getting a chance to play the Cowboys twice, even though they found a way to lose one of those games. Separate question. And then, oh, by the way, the Titans are on your schedule. Buddy, they had some opportunities, okay? They were handed a little bit of easiness. They needed a Hail Mary to beat the Bears. Let's not forget a couple things. We're not world beating here. Where they were most impressive was against a Tampa team that itself was decimated with injury, right? Not completely blowed up like the Lions defense was. By the way, the Bucks did beat the Commanders earlier in the year. What week was it? Off the top of your head, do you know?
What game was it? The Commanders against who?
Bucks.
That was week 1. They lost
opening week. Correct. You think Jaden Daniels might have gotten better over the past 4.5 months? So I say all the above to say he had a weak schedule that helped him build up and get better. Did he have a great rookie season? Duh. I'm going to have to compare it to a couple other teams. For one, Andrew Luck needs to be in the conversation.
He's in the conversation. I agree.
Okay. Russell Carrington Wilson in the conversation.
RG3.
Oh, by the way, he might not even be the best rookie season in his own fucking franchise. Have we already forgotten? RG3.
What's going to help his argument, though, is the results.
I'm
not saying whether or wrong. I'm not saying that's going to help his argument.
Hold on. You said you can't counter his argument. I just did. Whoops.
No, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I agree. I'm asking that I'm having a hard time, and I have to do more research on the numbers too, especially. But
it's more than just the
what's
numbers.
What's helping. I honestly, what's helping his argument, my friend's argument about this, is the fact that the results. None of those guys went to conference championship game in that first year. Team results. Team results.
Okay, you team results. A team sport for an individual analysis. Cool. You're already hurt.
We always weigh that stuff.
Speaking of being hurt, just because we always do, it doesn't make it fucking correct.
Well, we can revisit this topic, and whenever if they lose this weekend and lose the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl together.
But the punchline is this: you're not blaming RG3 for the mismanagement of his injury.
Oh no,
by Mike Shanahan.
I'm not even. Kyle, I'm not even disagreeing with you on what's going on. I'm saying I'm having a hard time finding the counter argument. You brought a few. I'll look at numbers again.
Okay, so
revisit that.
But what can I say except you're welcome? Boom.
Okay, cool. Sunday games. Eagles, Rams, biggest takeaway.
I mean, let's put it this way: the Eagles are starting to run out of luck. No, I don't mean Andrew Luck. In this one particular thing. As they continue to host football games, which they obviously will, they no longer are playing against teams where the word bruh is a common part of the vernacular in reference to surfing. Okay? Nobody else is going to be intimidated by their weather anymore. Or at least they shouldn't be. Now, this is not me talking any trash on the Eagles. I think they are the NFC's baseline team, much like Notre Dame. The Eagles, for whatever reason, and I can't really put my finger on it, they're good. They just don't impress me, and it's odd. Maybe I'm too hung up on their schedule to an extent. I will grant.
Maybe it's a Jalen Hurts issue.
No, I think Jalen Hurts gets way more criticism than he deserves.
I agree with that too. Also,
I think Jalen Hurts is also a really good team player that understands that he's being asked to do less while Saquon Barkley's in the room. And I think he understands that's the fucking point. This is a quarterback who just 2 or 3 years ago we were talking about was robbed of the award that was given to Patrick LaVon Mahomes II on the way to beating him in the Super Bowl. I might also add, right? Jalen Hurts, not, you know what I mean?
right. That's what you mean.
But anyways, they're the baseline team. I call them that because if you can't beat the Eagles, you don't belong in the Super Bowl. That's really my attitude.
Right.
So if nobody beats them and they're left the top man standing, guess what? They're going to the national the Super Bowl. See what I did there? So, yeah.
Okay. And finally, Ravens-Bills, biggest takeaway from that game.
God, here comes the stupid, huh? Just when you thought you heard enough bullshit about people blaming the refs. Oh, Lamar, he's the playoff Lamar. He's so bad, Lamar. I hold him to a higher standard because he's a great quarterback, Lamar. He's Peyton Manning. Get the fuck out of here. This dude got Lee Evans'd, okay? And listen, I'm a Mark Andrews guy. I think he's a good tight end.
That was rough, though, watching that.
One last night. One just the drop. He had one of the fumbles, too. You don't hold on to the goddamn football, you lose the football game. Period. Point blank. Story ends.
Yeah, and I think the narrative coming out of that game, too, is more so what Baltimore didn't do and what Buffalo did do. Buffalo did enough to win that game. Obviously, Baltimore lost that game, in my opinion, like the ACL game last year, those mistakes, because they had no problem going up down the field against Buffalo. You know, those 2 turnovers that Lamar had, first off, they were going down the field.
Yeah. Well, and there's, I think the one thing that's not getting talked about enough is Zay Flowers missing.
Yeah.
So when your top receiver's missing, you might take longer in the pocket or make more awkward decisions because your number one guy isn't getting open like you normally would.
Well, my thing with the Lamar thing, like I said, I've been saying all day long, is that if people weren't so extreme on the argument against him versus people who are pro Lamar and on the further opposite side of the spectrum, like we do with politics, and we have more nuanced conversation about this, you know, there are people who are literally saying Lamar sucks, don't have him as a quarterback, he came in the Super Bowl, and there are people who say no, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. How about stop both of these arguments, have a nuanced conversation, and be like, hey, look, Lamar, great quarterback, arguably best player in football, arguably, okay, but has not won a big game yet. It's okay. It's happened before. We've seen it many times over, okay? His name's Peyton Manning, okay? Peyton Manning in 2006, at this time right now, was the best quarterback in football. Did not win a ring yet. So we act like we've never seen this shit before. Like, stop, please. It's so disingenuous, these arguments. But anyway, let's get to the letter grades from these losing teams this weekend. And let's start with the first one who lost, which was the Houston Texans, who finished the year 10-7.
C. It's not so much that they did badly. They got about the win total I said they were. But boy, did they look like ass doing it. And let's be honest, they're a concussed Josh Allen away from being 9-8, right? Everybody seems to have forgotten about that, by the way. Find that interesting. You should have lost to the Jags twice. The only teams you played that were any good, generally speaking, that didn't have a concussed quarterback, mollywopped you. You're not great. And then moreover, your fan base has really turned me off to you. Not just because I cover the Jags. No, you just whine a lot.
Ooh.
Like,
a little entitled there.
How, but based on what? That's what makes it stupid.
Right.
You've been good for 30 fucking seconds.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I was also a C for a while.
Yeah.
I went B- for one reason.
Homer.
No, one reason. One reason only. B- for one reason.
Injuries.
No. Well, no. But beating the Chargers. That's a big
No. They
No.
didn't beat shit. They got handed that game. Come on, Christian. Of all the stuff you could have done,
Justin
you had
Herbert,
the worst possible.
Wait, because of Justin Herbert?
Yes, they won because Justin Herbert.
Look, they made the plays. They played the game. They made the plays.
They made what the fuck?
We lost it, bro. No,
I'm asking you what you're talking about. This isn't how that works, Gilmore Girls.
Had they not, because they were for a home team hosting a playoff game. I mean, they were a pretty fairly decent sized underdog in this game. So the fact they actually won this game running away, I have to give them credit for that. And then to boot, they were in the KC game. They were in that game, although you say not really because KC plays the way the KC does, and I get that. But so I think they get a little bit of a that plus the injuries too. Also, you mentioned losing receivers and still keeping things together. We forget about that. Yes, they were absolutely underwhelming this year.
Nothing to do with the argument.
We've said, but we've said all year long that they have been the most underwhelming team this season compared to what they did last year. But all they've done,
it's not even with what they did last year. It's all the goddamn hype. Come on, man.
Well, guilty charge.
The only thing worse than the Chargers weren't hyped.
No, that's a guilty charge. I said.
Okay, gotcha. They were overhyped. Cool.
I told you they'd be 2 seed. Remember I said it was a 2 seed.
Oh, I completely.
Remember that shit? Yeah. Yep.
I had him third. I'll grant,
brother. I had C.J. Stroud win MVP this year.
You can make.
So I'm the guy. I get it.
Case, but no. But the point is expectation, right?
Yeah, correct. But the playoff win saved that C to B minus, B minus, B minus.
The Chargers charging again. This is the same team that did what against the Jags 2 years ago. And I know we're not using previous years to make this great. I understand that, but like the Chargers did some shit. If there was a team that you should have beaten, maybe it was the Chargers, but everybody else was picking against Houston because they had looked that bad.
Yeah.
And then Herberted. By the way, why aren't we having a conversation about playoff Justin Herbert the way we are playoff Lamar?
I've been having that conversation. I don't know about everybody else.
I mean, media jackass.
Well,
you get one thing right and you got to announce it because it happens so rarely. I understand, but that's awful.
Anyway.
Oh, bad.
It's okay. Detroit Lions end of the year 15-2.
A.
Me too. A as well.
Absolutely. And the only reason why I'm not giving them an A+, I mean, we expected them one game further, and then that's kind of unfair.
Right.
But yeah, it's an A. Next.
Same. Same thing also too. They didn't match this where the season ended last year, number one. But you can't penalize them for, and I think the A is more so the fact that they navigated a year, not just being 15-2, but all the injuries they acquired on that journey. But we did say though that this could bite them in the ass at some point. I didn't think it'd be this early. I thought maybe it'd be a conference championship game against Philadelphia, which is why I said Philadelphia was probably my favorite to go to the Super Bowl because of the injuries. They're the healthiest team in the conference.
Right.
I think Washington won. And not only losing to Washington, the way they lost to also. My God.
To the Eagles' credit, like they got their injuries out of the way early, it felt like, and still won games though, even though they were hurt. So,
correct. So, but yeah, A as well too. For me, I'm definitely there with you. All right, how about the L.A. Rams who finished the year 10-7?
This is the hardest to grade because again, their injuries. Did we even really see the Rams? And I'm not one of these that's saying we hate weather games. I don't think that at all, bro. Some of my favorite football has been played in the rain. Let me be clear.
Yes.
Okay. But like, so what's odd is my expectations for the Rams weren't great, but then yours, like, you weren't surprised to see them in the playoff hunt.
Well,
right? Again,
it came down to who's going to be available. If Stafford's healthy and the receivers are healthy, they're going to be in the mix.
Well, rephrase. Who's going to be available to make the playoffs? If the Niners are like, the set of the next remake of MASH, right?
I mean, in fact, to go back to August, I had them missing the playoffs because I did not think Stafford will survive the rest of the year. I did not think
that was both of them.
So that's the thing. So we did not know that, but we got that on the. Well, to Stafford's credit, he played all 17 games this year. I think to his credit,
God, didn't he? That's right.
I think the receivers got hurt early in the year, but they got out of the way early. They started year 1-4.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the grade's a B because you got the playoff win. Okay, you were able to get out of a 1-4 hole. Okay, and stay the course. And once the Niners were out of the way, Seattle didn't pull away. Arizona had a little run for a little bit, and after the bye week, they fell apart. They stayed the course and they won a division and won a playoff game. And really almost beat the Eagles this weekend.
Well, no, they didn't. No, they didn't.
20 yards away, buddy.
No. I'm not going to take it that far.
I
But
will say this much.
playoff win is enough for a B+ for me.
Let me say this real quick to Kyle. I am very, very fascinated about the Rams next year because if Stafford comes back next season, I think this team is that defense, the way they played the last couple of weeks, end of the year into the playoffs.
Yeah,
with Jared Verse and company.
That
fucking defense is scary. What they showed me in the trenches, you look at the Rams. Oh, they're a finesse team because of the Rams. They play in California, inside the dome and all that. They go to Philadelphia, and they play in the trenches with the Eagles in the snow in that environment, and they pretty much go both blow. If you take away the two massive runs by Saquon and Jalen Hurts, that's a trenches game all the way through.
But yeah, it's a snow game. That's what happens.
But they
buddy,
hung in there. They hung in there,
buddy.
They made too many mistakes, brother.
Buddy.
Line.
Well, first of all, the mistakes thing is true, granted. But buddy, no, that game looked like a snow game. That game was a snow game. The reason why it was close is because it was a goddamn snow game.
You don't expect the Rams to be competitive in a snow game, though.
Are we still?
Do ya? That's my point, though.
You're calling that competitive. I'm not there. I can't. And they didn't get. Well, okay. If you're saying competitive in that they weren't blown out, all right, I'll allow it.
Kyle, they had the ball with under a minute to go with a chance to win the game. They were 25 yards away from winning the game.
I don't know, man. You know what? Here's the reason why I don't. Here's where I'll meet you in the middle.
Okay.
2 lost turnovers by the Rams. Okay.
The Stafford was bad.
Yeah, that was.
They were in that game. Yeah.
The 2 turnovers. Okay, I still gave him a B+. What do you?
No, I'm beyond. No, we're arguing about. I my bottom line is that look, there's been rumors of Stafford. Look, first off, I said this before you started that this could be his last year. We're hearing rumors right now that he's considering retiring now, post loss against Philadelphia.
Of course,
if he comes back, and by the way, Stafford, I told you as the podcast last week, he is, in my opinion, a top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Okay, you may disagree with that. I don't care. I'm
not ready to argue with you, but go
right. You bring him back with that roster, that defense now, the way it looked at the end of the year with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp on, they're great tandem, obviously. I think Kupp has to worry about a contract now, but other than that, I think the Rams and the team are going to be you talk about power vacuum in the NFC East and power vacuum in all these other divisions here. I think with the San Francisco 49ers issues now with players who they're keeping going forward, the Seahawks are not kind of like questionable. The Cardinals are always questionable. I think the Rams could win the division again next year, and I think the Rams might be one of the better teams in that conference next year.
If Stafford stays,
right, that's the big one. That's the big one.
Made a part of it. I will grant you that.
Yes. All right, finally, the last one, Baltimore Ravens, who ended the year 12-5.
Yeah, it's an A.
Really?
Yeah, sure. Why would you make it anything lower than an A? Like the only reason they're not getting an A+ is because they didn't meet the expectation of the conference championship. But I don't know what you're expecting from me to say here. What if you're to penalize them below A? What are you penalizing them for precisely?
Well, for starters, they're 12-5. I thought be a little bit better than that this year. Number one.
Okay. 12-5 in the toughest division in the NFL with a 1-point loss to a team that has a chance.
Maybe I'm grading harshly because I had this team winning the Super Bowl this year too as well.
I don't know that I had them winning. I think I had them.
I had them winning the whole thing this year, the whole shebang.
I mean,
I went C+. Maybe it's a little harsh.
What the fuck, Clyde?
It was a little harsh. It was a little harsh. And maybe to your point, though, I forget they do play in the toughest division in football.
They do.
Although this year the NFC North had a conversation about that too, also.
No,
but what you mean the Bears and the Vikings and the Lions and the Packers?
What I'm telling you is the Vikings, when they played anybody, shrank.
Right. Okay.
So
I'm with you. I used to know
the Packers, by the way.
Right. A little harsh for them because I had them going to Super Bowl this year. It's a good year. C means satisfactory.
Letter grades? Come on, buddy.
C means satisfactory. It was a good year. But
what?
They underwhelmed this year for me. Again, we will look at this team. I was anyway.
Damn, I'm glad
as
you're
a
not
Super
there,
Bowl
teacher.
team.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Bro.
they lost that game against Buffalo.
Do you think Buffalo isn't a Super Bowl caliber team?
They are now.
Bullshit.
They weren't coming to the year.
Stop. You were wrong
Bro,
about it. That's all there is to it.
I admitted that weeks ago. What are we doing here? I admit my mistakes, bro. Come on.
No, you didn't.
I said I was wrong about that. Hell, I said
the Bills weren't a Super Bowl.
Brother, I said I was wrong about that week 4 because I said no, this is different. They're gonna win the division. It's a runaway.
So your defense of the Bills, no,
your
condemnation of the Bills is their schedule is too easy, but then you don't reward the Ravens for a tough schedule themselves.
No, I'm not rewarding the Ravens because they okay. So again,
penalizing
not
rewarding the Ravens, sir.
I am penalizing the Ravens.
If you at least said B-, I might be able to let you off the hook here.
If you behave yourself, maybe give B-.
Behave D's nuts. How about that? We'll get to see, I guess. That's what the B is for. Behave D's nuts.
That's the name of the episode. Behave D's nuts. No, but I had to win the Super Bowl this year.
Sure.
They once again did the same thing than last year. They lost the last game of the year. Buffalo did not win that game. Baltimore lost that game on Sunday.
And
you watched the game, right?
Enough to know what you're talking about.
The turnovers are fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar look, and again, go back to the Lamar thing.
Here's my problem.
Okay, go ahead.
If Mark Andrews doesn't drop that ball, which the consensus is he should not have, I think that catch is a little harder than people are making it. But by the same token, yeah, he should have caught the fucking ball. Okay, I think even he will acknowledge that.
I think the fumble's worse than was the catch. The fumble's worse.
You think Mark Andrews' fumble is worse?
It's way worse than dropping the ball. I got to losing the ball in that little tight window.
But the reason why I focus on the catch is that ties the game. Clearly, we're going to overtime if that's completed, right?
Right. If Mark Andrews just fumbled that ball early in the game, though.
If Lamar Demetrius Jackson then takes over in overtime and handles business, people are opening fire on Josh Allen for losing again. Oh, it's the Bills, blah, blah, blah. And Lamar Demetrius Jackson's a fucking hero, and you probably have him as an A+ because you're a Lamar Demetrius Jackson homer.
Outside the 2 turnovers, Lamar still outplayed Josh Allen.
Outside of the 2 turnovers. Hey, right. You know what?
What I'm saying
is the president getting shot, the play our American
he threw more touchdowns than Josh Allen did.
Schmack, by the way.
He threw more touchdowns than Josh Allen. He rushed more yards than Josh Allen in this game. He also Josh Allen actually played a more clean game managing game in comparison to Lamar Jackson.
Well, the correct answer is they asked Josh Allen to do
less.
That's what you mean to say.
James Cook is what killed him really in that game.
I'm okay. Let James cook. I think that's a good idea.
I like that. So, but yeah, that's why I gave him a C because they beat themselves. But that being said, can we
now it's a C instead of a C+? Jesus Christ, Ernest.
I mean C+. Sorry, C+. Okay. All right.
Now, fuck.
Couple things we get out of here. Early thoughts on the I won't ask for prediction because I know you'll do it on your podcast. Quickly on the first
Duval dive by chance?
Yeah. Commanders, Eagles, your early thoughts on that. Is there lean right now? What are you feeling in the game?
It's the Eagles. It's not close.
Oh, okay. What about Bills, Chiefs? That's the game.
First of all, don't bet anything in this motherfucking football game.
Agreed.
Don't you do it. And if you do bet, don't do anything as stupid as I'm about to do and pick the Bills to win.
You think the Bills win?
I do. I don't know why. I can't put a finger on it. There's no good reason for me to say Patrick LaVon Mahomes II will not have a chance to three-peat. No excuse for me to say it. Here I am.
Well, it's very possible. I mean, even Vegas agrees with you too, because even though the Chiefs were a favorite, they're a 1.5 point favorite, which means by virtue of Buffalo being on the road, Buffalo's actually a 1.5 point favorite.
But
because they're on the road. So.
Sure. But are you prepared to predict which set of defensive tackles makes a bigger impact? Are you prepared to predict?
I will trust the tried and true of Chris Jones always.
But Buffalo are the most underrated defensive tackle.
And here, right, true. But here's the thing also that is in Buffalo's favor. Buffalo always plays the Chiefs well. even in losses, just like last year in the playoffs.
Okay, I guess so.
There has been one game where the Chiefs blew them out in this run.
Not lately, as well.
Not in the last 3 or 4 years. No. And in fact, when the Bills have won the games, they've been the ones that scored more, like in terms of like not blowout, but convincing fashion than say the KC, than to Buffalo. So there you go. All right, so there you go for that one. Before we get out of here, one last thing. Quick thoughts. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the Lions, hired by the Bears. Your thoughts?
I don't dislike it. I didn't think the Jags were going to get him anyway before we even bring that up.
Yeah.
You probably heard that on the Duval dive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think if you're a team that's trying to focus on offense, getting Ben Johnson is it. We'll find out if he's as good a head coach as he was an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, if anything, Caleb Williams should be able to, learn from that brilliant mind.
At least he'll be able to take the blueprint that Man Campbell used and start to build an offensive line.
Yeah, that's very true too. Also, anyway, Kyle, great job as always. Plug this out.
An honor, joy, and privilege, EJ Christian. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my writing with the Fans First Sports Network, covering the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic. Also with the Black and Gold Banneret, covering all things UCF football and basketball. So make sure you check that out. Iowa State, the next game for UCF men's basketball. My guy, Don Struble, will be there to bring you that action. Make sure you check that out on the blackandgoldbanneret.com. Also, the Night Shift podcast. I was not on this week's episode, but they talk a lot of basketball. Donnie Docs, Jeff Sharon, Eric Lopez, and Bryson Turner will bring you all the goods there. Of course, the Duval dive with me and my buddy Travis D. Holmes of Big Cat Country will be talking with you a lot this week about the coaching breakdowns. Travis has a little bit of a conversation on how Ben Johnson and that hiring changes the direction for the Jags. So make sure you check that out on the podcast and also the Duval Dive YouTube channel, where you should like and subscribe. And then, of course, Student of the Game podcast coming back again this week. We'll be certainly talking about the upcoming games and putting a bow on the college football playoffs. And then sooner than later, we'll be talking lots of hoop. Maybe if Earnest EJ Christian could take a few seconds away from watching porn, we'll talk about some basketball. But until next time, my friends, class dismissed.
Fake news.